A question asked by a modern philosopher. Would you rather have a power-scaling son or a shipping daughter? Hi again, fellas, and this was asked like 3 months ago, back in May initially, and it's another one of those like really dumb internet questions that some of you have asked me to cover. Obviously, Twitter has had thoughts and discussions about this, but before we get too deep into any of that, I'd like to break down like what I see as the pros and cons of either, divorced from like what the wider internet's been saying. So these things are being compared because they actually have a lot in common with how they're perceived from the outside. A lot of people think that both power scalers and people who ship characters religiously are both really annoying. A lot of this comes from the fact that the more dedicated power scalers and shippers have very strong opinions but in very different ways, different fields. Power scalers tend to be a little different because the question is who would win, and then that ends up being a question that transcends one piece of media. Very rarely do power scalers stay in one fandom. I'm using like an extreme example of either as the hypotheticals for this discussion, but a really dedicated shipper might have very strong feelings about their OTP. And if anybody disagrees with them, they may have words about why that person is wrong or like their ship is stupid. In the same way that a power scaler would be like ride or die that this guy absolutely beats this other guy, I mashed my action figures together to prove it. In the same way a shipping daughter mashes action figures together, but instead of pretending they're fighting, they're pretending they're kissing. Power scalers probably have strong opinions about the outcome of any given death battle episode, but with that comes like a lot of cool fan projects, like animations depicting these fight matchups that people talk about, just visual spectacle, interesting analysis that if you take it in a vacuum can be really enjoyable. A shipper who's really dedicated to like a pairing of two characters might have a lot of really cool fan art. Perhaps they get into writing and start like writing some really wholesome shit that fills your soul with joy. The main difference I'm seeing here is that like if we take like the most annoying power scaler versus the most annoying shipper, is that power scalers tend to be like multi-fandom at all times. Very rarely do you see people scaling two characters within the same universe because the story itself has probably already had those characters fight and you have a definitive position on who would win based on that. Whereas a shipper might not belong to one specific fandom, but they tend to be hyper-focused on one fandom at a time. Within that one fandom, they tend to gravitate towards one pairing or another based on how they feel about the characters and the chemistry they have. Me personally, I have dabbled in both of these spaces. I've been watching Death Battle and got like very lightly into power scaling since I was a kid, and I've been reading fan fiction, including ship stuff, for about as long. You can imagine that I have fond feelings for actually both of these archetypes, and to see them pitted against each other when I think they're really two sides of the same coin that actually benefit from the existence of the other, it does feel like I'm being caught in the middle of the divorce a little bit. But if we're trying to answer the question, we might as well go through a little of what other people had to say, and then I'll tie this up at the beginning when we're done. This guy said, I want a power scaling son because I just know he'd be doing funny ass shit like this 24/7. According to Chris, there is no version, according to Chris, whoever the fuck that is, there is no version of Superman that can beat Dragon Ball Heroes Goku. Thanks, Chris. I really appreciate that, DBZ truce. And then you just have like the face melting off this motherfucker. No, how'd you destroy the source wall? Oh, it's a wall. A drill breaks through walls. I respect that. Like, you're coming at this not from an angle of like what they actually do on the regular, but which is gonna make me laugh more. And I won't lie, I feel like power scalers tend to make like way stupider shit in a good way. Like, we have power scalers to thank for the potential man meme, which I really enjoy. Like, only a power scaling son could come up with this, and that's true because these two archetypes have very different goals. At least with the people who are on Twitter, it seems like the power scaling son side has gained a lot of ground through their ability to create propaganda like this. Meet potential baby. Always goo-gooing, gaga, but never win. 0 steps, 0 potty training, 7 screen time restrictions. FaceTime Spider-Man and play Grow a Garden. I'm pretty sure this came around when people were like saying who would win, Franklin Richards or Scarlet Witch. I don't remember, man. I was not paying much attention to that at the time. That said, there's a very clear distinction in the type of shipper you'll see in individual fandoms. Ones who ship characters together because they think they're cute or they enjoy their interactions and just like, they enjoy it for the sake of it in a vacuum and they don't like make expectations about the source material for that. And there are others who try to say that their ship is real and will happen in the canon media. They're trying to stake a claim and make a prediction of what will happen. And that is where slander for shipping's sake can come through. Given we're using an offshoot of originally a power scaling meme for this conversation, but it does paint the picture of what I'm talking about pretty clearly. She'll definitely go all the way this time. It'll be written eventually. It's not just bait. There's something happening. Trust me. It's basically a official. Give me ambiguous signals. Give me fire. Give me sleeping in the same room or I retire. 0 kisses, 0 official feelings, 7 scenes together. Unconfirmed ship means 700,000 fanfics, and fanfics means approximately 5,000 more viewers. Perfect! Actually confirm anything, kept making eye contact with the other person and turn away? Correct? If and basically, but never is. And it's in that way where like you're trying to say that no, this pairing is real. It's going to fucking happen. Trust me, trust me. Where you can see the parallels to Powerscalers about how their guy would definitely beat Deku. Now, the crowning achievement of this entire thing was the synthesis of both of these groups into one. And you know, whichever you would prefer to have as a child, that's your prerogative, but I feel like as far as the discourse war, insofar as it actually exists, because it's all fucking stupid Twitter bullshit and none of it matters, I don't necessarily think it's because they have like a more valid stance to come from. Powerscalers are just generally better at this Twitter shit because they're used to getting in the mud and slinging shit at each other. When you finally gave them something to all collectively coalesce around, fighting against shippers, it was over, man. This was the original tweet, now deleted. It was this pairing, nobody, the name of a person, is better than the original. See you in jail, bitch. And I think that was like an opinion on a ship of this character here. And then a fucking Powerscaler comes through and cites the source of a romance feat, and whatever the goddamn source material was, I don't know what the show is. It works no matter what, where she says she's into someone who's stronger than her at the very least, and you Powerscale nobody below that character, and they can't be together. It's fucking insane. It's like, this is the craziest shit I've ever seen. Powerscaling son and shipping daughter teaming up to take down a ship they dislike. The common ground is real, man. There is a real alliance that could be forged here for the better. Shipping daughter turned into Powerscaling daughter. And then the Powerscaler uses the power of shipping against the shipper to further push their agenda. This synthesis can be very well seen in, like, this is also your obligatory Deltarune mention of the day. If you're a Deltarune fan and you haven't seen Heartbreak Juan's comics of like Ezreal Death, like, you're fucking missing out, man. You gotta get on that ship. Simultaneously ships these two and just has them beating the fuck out of each other in some of the coolest Deltarune art I've ever fucking seen. Get on this shit, man. These things are not supposed to exist separately. Trust me on that. When the Powerscaling son and the shipping daughter have a child that can draw, nothing can stop them. Like, I've been seeing stuff like this where people are arguing who really contributes more to a fandom, Powerscalers or shippers. The Powerscaling son or shipping daughter debate falls apart for me fast because Powerscalers understand the story deeper most of the time. Shippers watch for their ship and Powerscalers watch for fights, blah, 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 blah. Half the characters people ship aren't even together technically. Powerscaling son versus shipping daughter debate is weird because shippers are the reason your franchise is still alive in 90% of cases. Who's writing fanfics, making fan projects, blah, 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 blah. You're missing the point. You guys all do the same shit. You guys have a strongly held belief about the fandoms and the characters in that fandom that you're in. You know what you're all doing at the end of the day? Agenda posting. You all have one to maintain and you need each other because all boats rise with the tide. If you are truly trying to push propaganda about a specific viewpoint in service of a series or a franchise or a piece of media that you both like, you're approaching the same aim using different methods. There is a concept called the diversity of tactics, often used in social movements and revolutions. Many movements have different factions that use different methods to further the same general aims. Where some people view force as necessary, others choose civil disobedience. It means a range of methods can be used simultaneously or at different times where appropriate. Listen, the shippers got AO3 on fucking lock, man, okay? They're subsidizing that part of the community who needs that and keeping them engaged so everybody overall is on that shit. They also keep Tumblr on lockdown. They make sure the fan art pipeline is moving and that there's tons of like fan-generated art content and creative works. Powerscalers do propaganda. They make a lot more memes saying that their shit is better than like another person's shit. They know how to play the Twitter game. They get YouTube videos up. They make loud funk edits of their favorite characters. Don't you see? This isn't a competition. It never was. They're trying to divide you. Truly, my friends, together we are capable of so much more. That's all I got. That kwytebox email's in the description if you guys want to send me any video topics. Anyways, piss off.